The Lion King. Directed by Jon Favreau. This movie is kind of a mixed bag, honestly speaking. So let's talk about it. So let's start with the story of the movie. It's exactly the same as the first one, which was released in 1994. The good old days, man. I actually watched that movie in 2005 when my father brought me the DVD back home, and I watched it, and I was like, pretty good movie. Back then I didn't understand much, but now I did, and the second one at least. So yeah, the story overall is exactly the same as the first one. Not much has, and actually nothing has been changed in the movie overall. If I say so myself, the overall story, the script of the movie is exactly the same. The things which have been slightly twisted and turned is the character presentation and the basic lines that they speak, and the overall, just the idea of the character has been changed by the voice actors themselves. So on that part, I'll say good note. They actually did improve it. So basically what the case was, the fact that the voice actor did add their own twists and turns to how they're going to be representing their character based on how they actually are when they are acting, which actually, in my opinion, was a pretty good attempt by them. And actually I liked mostly all the actors who did their best in the movie. Yeah. So now let's moving on to the visuals. This is actually by far like pretty good looking graphics. CGI, which is actually put into a movie. Honestly, like you can see many heavy details if you guys are gonna be watching this movie in Ultra HD, or probably on 4K, if you guys buy the DVD, if that ever comes out. But actually, I watched it on a 1080p theater, and it was actually pretty good looking. Like all these scenes, every single thing, the hair, the visuals, the all the animals. I could actually see all the important details, the hair, the dust. Was actually quite good looking. Like visuals wise, without a doubt, Disney and all the people behind it who actually worked on the CGI part actually did a fantastic job in the visuals, without a doubt. Pretty good job. Good job over there. So, moving on to the music. Music was kind of PG. Yeah, because actually this was actually made for all the kids out there, and back when I watched it, yeah, it had the music, the same kid style music back then, and back then I enjoyed it, but not this time because I'm actually 21 years old now. Anyway, but yeah, music wise, I didn't have any issues. I mean, I wasn't focusing much on the music, and in between many scenes they were bringing up the music. There were a total of 2 music, I guess, which was actually played in the movie. The first one was actually when Simba was actually gonna become, he was preparing himself when he was a little kid how he's gonna become a king. So he was actually telling Nala how he's gonna become an awesome king. So I think that was the first song which happened, which was kind of okay. I mean, I didn't have any issues. The second song was actually sort of a song-ish, was by Scar, and his song was also pretty fine for like a PG movie. Actually, I didn't have any issues, was fine, perfect, kid style. Anywho, let's move on to the acting / facial expressions / voice acting in the movie. So let me be straightforward here. Voice acting by all the cast was pretty good. All the voice actors did a pretty good job in the voice acting department, in my opinion. The facial expression expression / the acting, which was done by the CGI department for the animals, the Simba and all the characters, was literally a plain paper. There were no expressions on any other characters. I couldn't see any expression on any character but one, which I'll discuss later in the pros and cons of the movies. I'll discuss that later, so do keep this in mind. Other than that one specific character type, all the other animals in the movie had close to no facial expression, so you can't even tell whether an animal is happy, is he mad, is he confused, is he scared, is he you can't tell by his face. And I get that part. Like it's a wildlife. Animals won't have any sort of facial expressions, but I get that. But this is a CGI movie. If they could have added some sort of some sort of like facial expressions, this movie could have been much better, I guess. Like, you would get to feel the emotion through the facial expressions of animals, even if it's minute. But if you could see it, it would actually feel a lot more, because there are many jumps and emotions in the movie. You have the happy part, you have the sad and crying part, you have sort of neutral part where you don't feel anything at the moment, and then you have Hakuna Matata part where you're happy and stuff, and you don't see that on any face. And that was the biggest part, which actually people enjoyed in the first movie, which was released in 1994. Yeah, for me, when I looked at all the characters, all the CGI of all the animals, the facial expressions was I didn't like it. I just didn't like it. They could have done a lot better with it, honestly speaking. So now let's talk about the good and the bad part of the movie, the entire movie. So starting with the good part is the fact that the visuals, voice acting was also the second part which I liked. All the voice actors actually sort of gave us their own twist to their characters, which I actually like. It wasn't changed much. It actually wasn't changed at all from the first movie. The overall concept of what the characters were gonna present themselves as was exactly the same, but the way they did it was actually a little bit better. And actually, I liked it. They did improve upon themselves with time, and they did deliver the latest acting style, and I liked it. Timon and Pumbaa are the best two characters in the entire movie. Those two characters actually felt like that they were, entertaining. They were actually quite entertaining in terms of their voice acting, the CGI, the funny actions that they did overall in the entire movie. It was actually quite good. Timon and Pumbaa, pretty awesome. Loved them. And remember the part where I said, other than one character type, the animal type, all the other animal type didn't had any facial expressions. So that animal type, which I actually really liked in terms of facial expression, were the hyenas. The entire hyena group, the scene where you actually interact with the hyenas for the first time, that scene, you could actually see the smiling, the gore and the anger and the hunger to eat an animal. That I guess the hyena section was done so well that I could actually feel their urge to eat a lion. It was actually awesome. So hyena part was the amazing part which I loved in the movie. Their facial expressions were the only expressions in the entire movie which was done pretty well. Other than that, all the other animal facial expressions were like literally. Anyway, now moving to the downside, as I'm pretty sure I have mentioned this like 1,000 times in this video. You guys already know it. Facial expressions, not so good. The second thing which I did not like in the movie, I guess some people did not notice it much, but as a person who did enjoy the first one, I actually missed the Rafiq. I actually missed him, and actually he wasn't introduced much in the movie, and I actually forgot about the name. Started to look him up, like what was his name actually. So he also had lots of talking points in it, in the old one, 1994 version of the movie, and in this one, he was just sitting and waiting. He was like so patient. By the time movie ended, I felt like he knew what was gonna happen. Like, he was so patient and just sitting and doing nothing much. And yeah, I mean, his character was just, I guess, forgotten. Like, he honestly speaking, he was the most forgettable character in the entire movie. Like, he hardly had anything that was remarkable in the movie compared to the first one. In first one, he had a lot of things that he did in terms of character development of Simba. So overall, like, his character wasn't done well, in my opinion. Other than that, let's move over to the... So overall, like, you won't even know when the movie ended. And yeah, when the movie actually ended, I was like, alright. That was my, like, literally the word that came out of my mouth when I was... No, man, it's sort of a complete mixed bag. The visual part was awesome. The hyena facial expression was awesome. Other than hyena, everything else facial expression was non-existent actually. But yeah, anyway, if I had to give this movie the score out of 10, I'll give this a 6 out of 10. 6 because of good attempt on remaking the whole movie again with all the amazing CGI. Honestly, think about the movie. If you guys have watched it, let me know in the comment section down below. Be honest what you guys think. And in my opinion, I'm not gonna recommend you guys to go ahead and watch the movie if you've already watched the first one. So yeah, if you guys have already watched the first one, if you have already seen it, know the story, I don't see a point of watching the second one unless you want to see the visual improvement. If you're a guy who's into CGI and who wants to study CGI, I guess then you should go and watch the movie, because you'll get an idea, you'll get to learn how the professionals do it. So yeah, other than that, yeah, that's what my review is for The Lion King. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you guys think about the movie in the comment section down below, and I'm gonna see you guys next time in the next review. Till then, take care, have fun, and see ya. Rickster out.